Today we're going to talk about writing piecewise functions from graphs. So on our first example, if we look at the first graph, you'll notice that it has two lines. So this piecewise function will contain two parts. I like to start with the one that's farthest on the left and then work your way toward the right. So the line that's farthest to the left, I'm going to call this my first part. And in order to write this, we need to know the slope and the y-intercept of that line. So for the first one, the y-intercept, we can see where it crosses the y-axis, and that is at +1. And now I'm going to pick another point that goes through the corner and through my line. So I'll pick this point. And then I'm going to count my slope, rise over run. And I end up with my slope as 2/1, which is 2. Now, if I go to the second line, I can't see its y-intercept because the line's cut short. So I'm going to have to start with the slope first on this one. So pick 2 points that are on the line that are on the corner. So I'm going to choose these 2 points. And then I'm going to count for rise over run. And I get 1/1, which is just 1. Now continue this pattern of slope as 1 to go backwards so that we can see where it would cross the y-axis. So down 1/1, down 1/1, down 1/1. And then we get to see, oh, it would cross the y-axis at -9. So that's my y-intercept. So to write my function, I've got f of, I'm going to use the variable x. My first piece, the slope was 2, so that's 2x plus the y-intercept, which is 1. My second piece, the slope was 1, which is x, and then the y-intercept is -9. Now, the only piece that I have left to do is the restriction. So I'm going to scroll back up and look at my example. And take these open circles, and if I follow them up to where they would hit the x-axis, they would hit at the number 3. So my restriction is going to be x, and then leave some space for an inequality, and then 3. On the first line, you'll notice that the line is going toward the left. So if it's going toward the left, that means all the x numbers are smaller. So then we're going to put in the less than symbol. We don't have to have the or equals to because we're talking about an open circle. On the second one, once again, variable is x. This one would also meet the the x-axis at 3. But this time you notice this line is going toward the right, so that means x is greater. And that's how we come up with our final answer. So let's go to the next one. This one has 3 pieces. So I'm going to start with the line farthest to the left as my first piece. Horizontal line as my second piece. And the line farthest to the right as my third piece. So on the first one, I'm going to start with my slope. So I'm going to pick 2 points. If I pick 2 points, count rise over run. I got 1/1, which is 1. Now continue this pattern forwards so that I can figure out where it would cross the y-axis. So up 1 to the right 1, up 1 to the right 1. And I noticed it would cross at 6. The second piece, this one is a horizontal line. And if you have a horizontal line, that means it doesn't have a slope. The slope is 0, so we don't have to worry about it. So all I have to know is where does it cross the y-axis? And it crosses the y-axis at the number 6. And then my third piece for this one, once again, I'm going to pick 2 points to find the slope. And draw my little triangle between them. And I'm going down 2, which makes it negative, to the right 1, which is positive. And negative 2 over 1 is negative 2. Now, to figure out the y-intercept, I'm going to have to continue my slope backwards. So I'm going to go up 2, left 1, up 2, left 1, and one more time. And when you do that, you'll notice that the y-intercept is at 10. So now I get to go through and come up with my answer. So f of x equals, the first part is 1x or x plus 6. The middle part is just the number 6, no variable because it has no slope. And the third part is negative 2x plus 10. So now let's talk about the restriction. So if I go back and I look at the first line, the first line, take that open circle, follow it down till it hits the x-axis, and that's going to be at the number 2. And the line is going to the left, so we're going to have x is less than negative 2. The horizontal line starts at negative 2 and then follow the open circle down to positive 3. Now at negative 2, it has a closed circle, so make sure you put the or equals to bar in. And then at 3, it has an open circle, so no bar. So you should have negative 2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 3. And then the last one starts at 3, and it's going to the right, so that means x is greater than, and then you'll notice that this one is a filled in circle, so make sure you put the or equals to 3. And now you have your answer for your second one. The third one, going to start with the line, and that one is a horizontal line. So once again, no slope, just need to know where it crosses the y, and it would cross at 4. Now, the second piece, this one could be 2 lines, or it could be an absolute value because it does make a V shape. So the only way to test this to see if it's absolute value is to see if the slope of those 2 lines are identical. So if I pick a point on the right side, it looks like my slope is up 1 over 1. And if I pick points on the left side, I have the same slope, up 1 over 1. So yes, this is indeed an absolute value because the slopes are the same for both lines. So to write absolute value, we need to know the slope, which we just said was 1, and it's positive because the V shape opens up. And then we need to know the vertex, the starting point. And this is my starting point right here in pink. So that one has an ordered pair of 3, negative 3. So f of x equals, and then we have 4 for the horizontal line. For the absolute value, you don't really have to put the 1 out in front as a slope, but I'll put it there so everybody knows that's where it goes. And x, Now the x number in the vertex is 3, but remember you have to write it as the opposite. So write it as -3 inside the absolute value. And then the y number, that one stays exactly the same. So -3. So now for my restriction. If I follow the line down to the x-axis, you're going to notice that's at -1. It's an open circle, so no or equals 2, and it's going to the left, so you have x is less than -1. Now the V shape starts at -1. It's a closed circle, so we have the or equals 2, and then it's going over to the right forever and ever, so x is greater than or equal to -1. So now you pause the video and you try the last one by yourself. So hopefully when you unpause the video, you come up with the same answer that I have. If not, please make sure you let me know. Thanks for viewing.